Hello and welcome back to yet another Lives on Lockdown. I'm Andrew Eborn and I'm going to go straight away to line 47. Who's on line 47? Hello?
Hello.
It's Stacey! Welcome back, Stacey. We love Stacey. How are you?
Thank you. I love you too. I am great. And I have to say, after yesterday's episode, I couldn't stop thinking about your passionate chocolatier guy.
Ah.
Oh, please, can you put a link to either him, his restaurant, or his chocolates?
Oh, absolutely. He would love that. He absolutely adored it. And he did, say, a lemon drizzle cake. And he used to work for the Rothschilds as their chocolatier and spoke passionately. And I love people who speak passionately about all things cacao and how glorious it is to you and everything else. And the other thing, Stacey, talking about passion, I have had world record breakers on. I've had massive artists come on. Nobody has been able to beat your name checks.
Oh, there's so much dropping going on.
Oh, I loved it. Name after name after name. So I love it. So this is going to, the new section of this show is now called Stacey's Shout Out. I think this is what we're going to do. It's going to be good.
There is so much more. But do you want to know something? I made a mistake.
Oh, what happened?
When I was talking about the Reverend Richard Hayes,
yeah,
I gave the wrong village for his parish. I know, he's in Yapton outside Arundel.
Oh, I love Arundel. No, because that's on the way to Brighton. It's a beautiful place, Arundel.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. Yeah. So apologies for that, but I got it right now.
Oh, you did get it right. Well done. And there's a beautiful place in Arundel called Belinda's Tea House. Belinda's Tea House.
Yes, I've been there.
It?
Yes.
And they used to, my mother, every time, my brother and actually my father and my uncle all went to Brighton College. And Brighton College, surprise, surprise, is in Brighton. And my sister went to a place called St. Mary's Hall, which was also in Brighton, that sort of stage. And so we used to go on a journey from Bracklesham Bay along, stop off, I always remember this, but we'd stop off at Belinda's Tea House. And they had the most glorious fruit cakes and wonderful places. And you always used to bang your head when you went in. So
not me.
Didn't happen to you.
Not me, I didn't have to bend at all.
They also had lots of nice little teapots and things like that, which is rather fun, which was good.
I'll tell you who took me there. It was, she's now called Rose Smith. So Rosie took me there when she was living in Arundel. Our boys went to school together. And she is a brilliant producer of opera.
Oh, really? Oh, we should get her on. Can she sing herself?
No.
Oh, don't say like that.
I'll introduce you. Yeah, she produced this amazing opera where the characters were actual wine bottles. So they were different wines, and they were in the basement of an auction house about to be sold. It was amazing. I absolutely loved it. I have another name drop for you.
Oh, no, I love the name drop. People at home are sitting with their bingo cards trying to say, when Stacey could have mentioned me, we'll cross that off. It's going to be good. I'll tell you another really nice place. Another really nice place near Arundel. It's called the Black Rabbit. Do you know the Black Rabbit?
No.
And that is a lovely pub. When it opens up again, we'll all go down there. It's a Black Rabbit, and it's right by the river. So you sit out on a glorious day. I took my mother there many times, as well as the family. And you'd sit outside on glorious days, and they'd bring you whatever you want to eat. And it was a fantastic location, as much for the location as other things. So we love Arundel. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. So really good. So I'm glad you corrected the errors of the name checks yesterday. Which was good.
Yeah.
The other things people have been saying is that, and they've said such lovely things about lives on lockdown. In the same way as Joe Wicks has been looking after the physical health of the nation, they say Andrew Eborn is looking after the mental health. We're stimulating people with puzzles. We're getting people being creative in the kitchen. We're getting all sorts of laughter yoga people on, everything. So mental health and Mental Health Awareness Week is so essential, but it's essential every single day. So once this week is finished, everybody should be aware of mental health. We all have issues, and it's okay not to be okay. That's what I would say.
I love when you say that. It is okay not to be okay. And as a New Yorker, therapy, everybody needs therapy. Everybody's entitled to it. Everybody should have it. There should be no stigma on it. And I've got several psychiatrists looking after me because they're in the family. So
Are
they
they?
keep an eye on me.
Oh, who have you got? I hope you're on commission. Go on, give us some name checks. Who's in
No
the
commission.
family?
No, I'll give you one. Dr.
Go on then.
Christina Hofberg. And she is the world expert on tachophobia, which is the fear of childbirth.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so she created and runs the special clinic up in the Midlands. And it's for women who are pregnant and are terrified of giving birth. It's a real phenomenon, and there's help.
Look, and I think that's the important thing. What I love about this program is we've got a platform for people to talk. And what I've really found about any issue is that if you give people a platform, other people come out and say, well, hang about, I thought I was alone. And when people think they're alone, it makes it really, really difficult. But I've had people talk about adoptions. I've had people talk about, and all of a sudden somebody said, well, I've just found out I was adopted. And the shock when it gets to you later on in life. And what we've done on the program is make people reach out and talk to each other. We've reunited families, which has been lovely. But also the other thing is that we've got people to question their perception. Because so often misunderstandings happen because people get reality and perception are not aligned. So what I've been trying to do is say to everyone, look, question everything. If somebody says something nasty about you, and they always do, it's human nature to gossip and things like that. Firstly, try not to do it. But secondly, what I always say is that if you want to say something about somebody, say it while they're in the room so they can correct it. And we'll try and work out if there's a misunderstanding. So the big thing I say is, look, question everything. So often perception and reality are not aligned. So get people to talk. And as you always say, today, the carpe diem, that go fishing. What we always say, work on that basis. Today may be the last day you can ever say anything to that person. And if that's the case, what would you like to say? Do it today.
One of my really good friends is Tony Moore, who is one of the angels of music, especially live music. And he always says at the end of every phone call, I love you. Because, and it's based on a song that he wrote, because today might be the last chance I ever get to say it, just like you said. And he's right. He's absolutely, if you feel it, why wouldn't you say it?
Oh, absolutely. And Tony's been wonderful. I've had him on the show. We did we very kindly did a royal performance for the Serbian royal family. I've done that a few times where we were raising money for the NHS and also for Lifeline Serbia, fantastic causes. And Tony came on and they basically said they saw this fantastic story about Tom Moore. And I thought, well, if you want more, I'll get you more. It's no relation, but it's a nice little segue. So we got Tony.
I think that's brilliant, and I forgot that he's a mutual friend.
Yeah,
but do you want my Rothschild name drop?
Oh, go on then.
My great aunt Sophie married into the Rothschild family.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, and then broke all contact with the Brooklynites.
No.
That's
outrageous. So she was an SR.
Yeah. Look, it happens. It was before I was born. But it goes down in the anecdotes of family history.
Oh no! But so that side of the family you haven't spoken to?
My grandparents. So she was the sister of my grandmother.
Right.
And my grandmother died a very long time ago. But it was one of the conversations we had when I was moving to London before she died. To help me, she wanted me to go and look him up, because it was the UK branch of the Rothschild. And funny enough, recently I was at a do at the Houses of Parliament and I met David Rothschild. Oh, and I said, by the way, is there anyone in your family who might be my relation? And he said, he'll look. And then he came back and he said, nope, no history. And then another day I was touring Willesden Cemetery.
As you do, absolutely.
Yeah, as you do. And we were looking at the Rothschild headstones. And again, no Sophie. So I wonder if it was true at all.
Oh, that's good. A little secret. Well, I'll tell you what, one of the guests I've had on used to do he's a historian, and he loves a challenge. A guy called Richard Jones, a many unusual name, but Richard Jones used to work with Derek Ancora, he did all these ghost hunts and things like that. And he would be engaged by them to do the research and to confirm or otherwise what Derek was saying as it all came through. So he would love a project like that. Similarly, I know the Rothschilds are avid viewers of this program. So what they'll do, anybody who knows about that side, so give us the dates and details. Anybody who knows, write into the show, lol, that's LOL, at octopustv.com. Stacey will give you the details. So give us a few name checks for people to look out for. Who would they be?
Sophie Helfgott. That's all I know.
Okay, fantastic. And the date of birth, the date of roughly how old? None of that?
My guess is that she would have been born in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Okay. Very good. Well, if anybody's got any details about that, that's one of the things we love to do on the program, is to reunite people. Stacey, next time there'll be like a Cilla Black moment, a surprise. I will bring in the Rothschilds, and I'll bring in the chocolatier, and we'll all have a massive recipe fest together. Speaking of which, it's a lovely segue. Yesterday we had the glorious delights of your butter pudding, and we've all been trying that at home, and people have been writing in, letters have flooded in, saying, you promise us more, not only more, you promise us Tony, and also schmore. So let's see what I did there. Yeah, I'll provide the cheese, you provide the cheesecake. What are we going to do?
It is S'mores Cheesecake, and do you know where s'mores comes from?
Oh, tell me.
It's from my days of Girl Scouting. So you used to have the campfire, and you used to wrap graham crackers, marshmallows, and chocolate in foil in a sandwich, put it in the fire, it all melts, gets gooey, you eat it, and whenever you have a bite, you always want s'more.
Ah, so it really is that sort of Oliver moment. Give me schmore.
That's right.
And that's what he meant. He just missed it. And I'll tell you what I loved about campfires as well, is I didn't wrap it in foil, but one of the things, you used to put them on a stick, the marshmallows, you put it in there, and marshmallows are okay, a bit sort of, you're never quite sure when you finish, you keep going. But when you put it on a stick and things set to light, it is glorious, isn't it?
It's beautiful. I love it. So are you a lightly toasted over the campfire marshmallow or a burnt?
Oh, no, I think I like to, as always, I like to find the middle ground, you know. So it's always extremes with you, isn't it, Stacey? Is it raw or is it cremated? I mean, I like to tread the middle path where I can and to find harmony between the two extremes. So I like my marshmallows rightly done in the middle, which is good. There are some things that I like on the rarer side, but marshmallows, I think, to be toasted in the middle, and I know they burn, you sort of set light to it, and by the time you burn out, that's the moment for me. What about for you?
Ah, beautiful. Well, we'll see if I've done the marshmallows the way you like on the one I prepared earlier.
Ah, very good. What about you? How do you like them?
I like them crispy.
Okay, I like it crisp.
Yeah, so liquidy insides. But it's, it's hard because you can go so overboard. But that's okay. We're fine. So
well, talk us through the ingredients today and set us up for, give a schmore for our S'mores Cheesecake.
I will show you what I've got collected around me. So it comes in 3 parts. The first part is you have to take your digestive biscuits and bash them up with some butter. You mix that.
And the butter again, that's your goat's butter, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So I'm going to make a dairy-free and gluten-free version today, because the one I made yesterday, according to the proper recipe, I tasted it, and you'll see my teeth marks in the piece I cut out, and I was sick all night. So, yeah, we're not doing that again today. That one I'll give to the neighbors, and this one I'll eat myself.
Oh, I'm sorry you were sick all night. That's a terrible thing to say.
Oh, no, it's all right. It's okay. So you mix that all up, and then you go and you press them into your cheesecake tin.
Okay, so you've just got a bit of mixing there. They're not completely crumbly. Show us again. Can you hold it up to the camera? Let's have a look.
Yeah. So
there you go. So it's not too broken, is it?
Proper crumbs, and then you press it into the bottom. I'm going to make little ones today, cupcakey ones.
Lovely.
Yeah, but I'll do that while you're not on camera.
And then one where you prepared one earlier, going to come out as a glorious mountain. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Okay, very good.
Yeah. And then you put that in the fridge to harden, and you mix your filling ingredient, your cheesecake ingredients, which are cream cheese.
And what sort of cream cheese do you have? Is it a particular type?
Well, Philadelphia is the best, but I'm using lacto-free, so Arlo. And your eggs, you need 3 eggs.
3 eggs. Now, I had this conversation beforehand. Do you have a preferred egg?
No. You whatever you have. Your eggs, normally you'd put in some condensed milk, sweetened condensed milk. Instead of that, I'm going to put in marshmallows, mini marshmallows.
Okay.
Little bit of vanilla. Oh, if I can get it open. And then again, you blitz it all up until it's smooth and creamy and consistent. Oh,
so it's only a few seconds to whir it all up, isn't it?
It takes no time at all. So the marshmallows
the consistency. Let's have a look at the consistency so people can judge it from that, because obviously whir uppers are different. Okay, so a few lumps in there so people can see what that's looking like. Okay.
Yeah, the lumps are the marshmallows.
Okay. Of course they are.
You need to know.
That's what they were. They're supposed to be lumps.
Yes. They'll melt when it cooks and they'll keep it together. But I like a dense cheesecake. So I do it in the mixer. It beats it up badly. If you like yours light and fluffy and almost souffle-like, do it with a hand mixer, like that.
Okay, good advice.
So you pour that into your cups and you bake it. The recipe's in the book for how long and at what temperature. Then when that's done, you take your chocolate, your chopped chocolate or your chocolate chips, melt them in the microwave with a little bit of butter and a little bit of sugar and a couple of marshmallows. I would say a handful, which is about that much.
Okay, a handful of that. And how much butter would you put in? And sugar?
Oh, just like a tablespoon.
A tablespoon of each, yeah?
Yeah, so it's to get the chocolate to be pourable liquid. That's why you do it that way. And 5 minutes before the baking is done, you take the cake out and put marshmallows on the top. So I have a whole plate more. And that gives you the topping. And then you pour the chocolate over. And you can do it how you like. I did mine half and half.
Oh, that looks wonderful. Tell us about so you mentioned about the temperature of the oven. I know it varies oven to oven. I know you said last time you always have it at 200 degrees plus. What sort of temperature would you do this on that?
325.
325 for how long?
Fahrenheit or 100 Celsius for 50 minutes. 50 minutes at 100 degrees Celsius. Okay. Yeah. But check it at 40, just because your oven may be different. And this is what it looks like when it's done. So I have chocolate chips going through it. I have the marshmallows on top. That's what your little crust looks like. And it goes beautifully with strawberries. So the sharp and the sweet it cuts through and it's gorgeous.
That looks sensational, Stacey. Absolutely delicious. Now, one of the things we had from a lot of the chefs, they have little tips as you're going along with any sort of baking, so you don't get a soggy bottom, as Mary would always say to me. And what you have to do is they do the knife test. Do you do something similar?
No, for this one you use the jiggle test.
Oh, the jiggle test. Oh, I want to see that.
So when it's in the oven, you pull it out a little bit and you give it a little jiggle. And if it's still liquid, it moves. So you want it to not move. It can have a little bit of movement, but it must be mostly solid. And the thing with this cheesecake is sometimes it burns around the outside in my oven. So I put foil around the edges and just leave the middle exposed and then put it back in the oven. And so the inside will cook without burning the top and the sides.
Okay, no, very good. And in order to get it out of the foil afterwards, do you have any a special secret or anything, depending on the tin or anything? Because sometimes you find that it sticks to it. So how do you avoid that?
No, it can't touch the marshmallows. If your cake is too high and it's at risk of touching the marshmallows, use toothpicks to hold it up. And if you use a traditional cheesecake form, it's a spring form, so it opens and then it expands and you can lift the ring off. And I always put some baking parchment underneath. Or if I make it in a non-spring form pan, I use big cupcake round things, like cake rounds. It looks like a little cupcake holder, but it's cake size. But always some sort of paper to make sure it doesn't stick to the sides. Okay. It sticks to the paper, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I was asking you earlier about eggs, and the reason is a lot of chefs, they like the Burford Brown eggs. Have you tried a Burford Brown?
No, but I have to now. I have to for the sake of science.
It's amazing. But what they also say, because I thought it would make a difference to the taste and flavour, the flavour of a cake, depending on the egg that you use. And they say it doesn't matter because you're baking it anyway. So any eggs for baking, because you're baking it, that's how that will work. But if you're having breakfast and you have an egg for breakfast, as I love to do, especially a bit of truffle oil, I would love a Burford Brown, really delicious.
Yes, if you're eating the egg and tasting the egg itself, then always free range, the most expensive egg you can afford. But if you're putting it in a recipe, then I don't think it matters. But I'll tell you something interesting. I do a keto bread recipe and I make rolls, and it's my favorite bread right at the moment. But I have to weigh the eggs because not all eggs here are the same size, even when they're called large or medium or whatever. And also for baking, I buy mixed and, basics. So they're not the same size anyway. So I measure them. I need 120 grams of egg. I use 120 grams of egg.
Oh, very good. And that's really interesting. I mean, it's one of the things I've always wanted. I've wanted to learn, I say this in lockdown, I really want to learn how to bake a loaf of bread. Do you have a favourite recipe for that?
Well, it changes. And that's another thing. I'm not really good at routine. I always like something new, something different. But it's been about a month now. This keto bread is made from ground almonds, egg whites, psyllium husk, salt, baking powder, cider vinegar, and boiled water. Okay. Crazy, right? But if I tell you, it's crispy on the outside like a good proper New York bagel. It's fluffy on the inside, and it toasts up beautifully. And it's protein. It's mostly protein. How can you go wrong? It's very, very carb light. So I can't stop, and I'm gonna have to limit myself to one a day.
I know, I love it. And when I was in New York, I used to go to New York, H&H Bagels, I used to go there every time. Wasn't that wonderful?
Oh, it's amazing. They're a really good brand. And Zabar's, they do beautiful bagels.
Oh, Zabar's is fantastic. I love Zabar's. And you used to go with those bagels where they have everything. They're like you can have your onion, you can have your, you have a rainbow one as they do now. An H&H everything bagel had, and that's how you get to go.
I like everything's the best myself, but it's not everything if it doesn't have salt.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do they hold off on the salt?
Some people do. And you should call it everything but salt.
Okay. But we also have some fantastic bagel places here as well, especially in the East End of London. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. My son texted me the other day to say he was on his way there.
Brilliant.
But when I was a baby lawyer, we worked at the bottom of Brick Lane, and that was like the big outing at lunchtime, was to go up to the bagel place and get it with pastrami. Oh man, I love that.
Oh, I love pastrami, and I also love salt beef.
Oh, me too. We call it corned beef. So at the bottom of Brick Lane, you had the Whitechapel Art Gallery, you had Aldgate East Tube Station, and then you had Bloom's Deli. Oh, that was another favorite place back in the day. Yeah,
back in the day. I know, we love it. Well, we'll make that day come back because we like that sort of stuff. And we work on what the French call. We'll work out what the French call déjà vu, and we'll make it come back. I think that would be glorious. So next time, then, let's do this. Next time, can we have your bread recipe, your bagel recipe, whatever you want? Can we do one of those?
Yep, we can do that. I'm very happy to. Love it.
Well, that'd be fantastic. But for now, this is in that wonderful cookbook. Have you got it there? Because you're so good at plugging. I'm sure it's only a reach away. Come on. Here we are. Here's the cookbook. What page is it?
It's page 78.
Page 78. Hold it up, because I love, this is my favourite title of anything ever, and I'm happy to say it several times. A gefilte fish out of water. It's available on Amazon and every good bookshop everywhere, I'm sure. It's fantastic. And also we'll put the link as we did last time. Stacey, it's been an absolute joy, as it always is. You normally have to finish a book written in and say, the way that people finish, having prepared everything, they have to take a bite and go, and then that's that sort of look for the camera, especially now. Okay, so I want to have that moment, Stacey Haber, where you do it. Here we go, and make appropriate sound effects. You ready?
Ready. Oh my God. Oh, that's so good.
That was almost a When Harry Met Sally moment. I love it. It's fantastic. It was really... Stacey, I'll leave that with you. I look forward to the bread next time. But thank you so much for being my guest today. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. There you go. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? More lives on lockdown. If you do have your own recipes you want to share, do write to me at lol, that's LOL, at octopustv.com. If you've got any comments or you want to send your pictures of what you've done, the wonderful creations following the recipes, do let me know. Be in touch. Don't forget to subscribe, send in your comments, and I will see you next time for more lives on lockdown. Be good, be safe, and stay alert.